Do you like my Halloween guy? His name is Sir. I don't remember. I said something stupid and he had a really dumb name. But like, he's gonna be up forever. This isn't just a Halloween decoration. It's not a video unless Barbie is somehow in it, and this is her way because she did not mess with me once while making this project. But here she is. Okay, we're currently in my living room. This is a weird setup. But hello, welcome back to my channel. How is everybody doing? I have a lot more subscribers now, and I got a lot of views on my last Ashtray video. So I'm here today with another one. Today I'm gonna show you guys how I made this really cool, like, yellow dried flower, gold, kind of the same as the last one that we did, but bigger flowers in different colors. But yeah, this is gonna be today's video. I think it's super pretty and it matches my living room. I love the color yellow. But yeah, so I'm gonna show you guys how I did this. It's super easy. Once we get in on the voiceover, you know, I want to take a second to talk about some resin and some comments that I've been getting lately about safety and stuff. Since, you know, my last video got a lot of views and I wasn't expecting it to get that many, so I just kind of want to address some whole things when it comes to resin and some safety and some things you guys should be looking out for if you're really interested in resin, because it is time consuming, it can be dangerous, and it can be a lot of money. So I just kind of want to give you some tips and tricks on everything I do with that. So anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. We're gonna get into the video. Here we go. This is a how to beautiful yellow ashtray. Even though I don't smoke, I just literally use this as a dish to put random stuff in on my coffee table. Anyway, onto the video. Okay, and here we go. So I already have my resin mixed up because I was doing a bunch of different projects. So as you can see, there's a little bit of bubbles in my resin, but not too much. So the brand I'm using is Art Resin, and it is a 1-to-1 ratio. So that means half hardener, half resin. You want to make sure that they are exactly equal amounts that you're using. The color that I'm using here is just a mica powder that I got off of Amazon. Oh my gosh, my cat's attacking a box. I got it off of Amazon. Honestly, everything I use here you can find on Amazon. This is a kind of pearlescent, kind of opaque color. It's not super opaque. I'm sure it gets more opaque the more you use. But I didn't use too much because I didn't want it to be too in your face. I wanted it just that light, pretty yellow. And the flowers here that I'm using, I got on a walk because I am in England and it was kind of summertime when we did this, so we would always go on walks and I would just pick random flowers around everywhere because we do have a lot of super pretty flowers here. And I just hung them in my window to dry so that, you know, they would keep their shape. So this is just gold flake. I do get these sheets and then I just kind of smash them up and rip them up in the resin. It does rip very easily if you get the sheets. You can throw them in the resin and they practically disintegrate since gold leaf is so thin. So, not disintegrate, I should say rip apart. So you get those little chunks. So you don't have to buy already like crushed up flake. You can, you know, buy the sheets of it and still do the exact same thing. And pretty much my goal for this was I wanted it to be gold on the sides with yellow kind of swirled throughout it. So that's what I'm trying to do here, just taking the resin and the gold flakes and dropping them down in the sides. So as you can see, I am not wearing gloves. Now, I am not a person who likes to wear gloves while working on things. I know with some things you should because, like I said, I am an automotive painter, refinisher, body man, all that good stuff. And I do wear gloves and PPE while doing that. But that being said, my resin is a no VOC, no chemical, nothing like that. So if this resin was to get on your skin, it'll just be sticky. It's not going to burn you. It's not going to cause any chemical reactions or anything like that. It's just sticky. It is a very safe resin, and you can find safe resins like that out there to where you don't have to be wearing a mask. Obviously, you should still be using this in a ventilated room. If you do not have a ventilated area, then you should wear a mask. But since I have windows wide open, and like I said, it's a very not harsh resin. This has no chemicals, obviously resin chemicals, you know, but it doesn't have those harmful chemicals that everybody else seems to freak out about when they hear resin, because epoxy resin obviously is a chemical, but the ones that are going to hurt you are the big industrial countertop resins or boat resins and stuff like that that are meant to be used in industrial settings. You can get resin that is safe for in-home and hobby use, so that is one thing to look for while looking for your resin. And honestly, you can tell when your resin is going to be very chemically and bad for you because you can smell it. This resin has not even really barely any odor. So it is well ventilated, you know, all my windows are open. The cats, they come in my room, but I have a huge art room. They don't sit up and eat it and anything. So this is a safe at-home use resin, which is what it was marketed as. And the only reason you have to wear PPE is if you don't want to have sticky hands. So please do your research when it comes to whatever resin you are using, because I have used resins in the past where you take the cap off and it'll knock you on your butt. The smell is so harsh and you get headaches and all of that. So definitely look into resin because there is a lot of harmful ones out there, but at the same time, there is a lot of good hobby use, at home, safe use resins, which I don't think people talk about enough. So at this point, I pretty much have the sides of my mold done. I have clear in there and yellow, and I just kind of pushed it around to make sure that it kind of mixed and wasn't such a harsh line in there. So at this point, we get to do the fun part, and I'm just taking these flowers. They are dry, and there is a thin coat of resin along the top of that ashtray. I guess where they're setting, would that be the top, the bottom? I don't know how to explain that. But a good tip when you are making projects or anything in general, I don't know if it's just a me thing or what it is, but I don't use even numbers when it comes to things. And that sounds weird, but let me explain. When you use an even number of something, it makes it super symmetrical, and which can be cool if that's what you're going for. But in projects like this, like, I don't want it to be symmetrical because it's an ashtray. So like to make the eye kind of flow more, I use odd numbers. So either like 3, 5, 7 of something. So in this case, I only used 3 big flowers, and then I kind of made focal points with like little leaves and a little bit of gold around, but that way it wasn't just so like there's a flower in this corner, flower in that corner, flower in this corner, in this corner, you know? So it gives you something in the middle, and it just kind of flows around in a nice pattern, and it's weird. And if you're weird about it, I don't know, try it yourself. If you normally use 4 things, try using 3 or 5 and just see. I just know me personally in my art, I don't use even numbers because it doesn't look as perfect, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So as you can see, I am doing this in layers as well. So when you're working with light things like flowers, they tend to float. So I don't want them to be stuck at the back of my project. I want them to stay up front. So I did a thin layer, and then I'm putting in the flowers, and they're just going to sit on top of that layer of resin. They'll kind of sink in a bit, but they're not going to go anywhere. So I just kind of put some gold around it, and then I'm going to let it dry. My resin is fully dry in like 12 hours, I think. It's super quick. It's not the quickest you can get. It's also not the slowest you can get, but it is a good waiting time. So I waited until it was set up before I did my next layer because I wanted, you know, everything to just be encapsulated, and a lot of times I find that my flowers float to the top, and now they're on the back of my piece and bumpy. So it's just easier this way to let your flowers in. They will set, that way when it comes to that next layer, you'll get a glossy, smooth finish, and your flowers will not raise, or whatever you're using, whether it's stickers, pictures, whatever. It's not going to float to the top if you double layer things. That does make it take longer, but it makes it look better. And it is hard. Ta-da! So this was, of course, the first layer, and as you can see, there is still room for resin on top there. So the flowers did get pretty covered. You know, they kind of settled into the resin overnight, but now I'm just going to do my final coat of resin. So this is going to fill straight up to that top lip. And, you know, at this point, it's kind of whatever you want to do. This is, you know, how I do things. If you want to add in more things at this point, you totally can. You could completely color it black. and put it in the back. But I am just going to keep pouring resin until I know for sure all my flowers are covered, because I don't want any poking out and making, you know, like a weird texture on the back or anything like that. I want to make sure all the flowers are encapsulated. And then I'm going to go in with some more gold and put some more gold pieces on the back, because I just want, you know, a little bit of, I guess, background dimension, I guess you can call it, since all the gold pieces that I put in before would be in front. So these ones are just going to be kind of behind the flowers, so it gives it more depth when you're looking down at the coaster. So this is pretty much the last step of my resin mold. So you do want to be careful when using molds like this, because you can get a lot of bubbles in that edge there, like kind of right before, you know, the sides. It kind of smooths out and angles out to the bottom. I don't know if that makes sense, just that lip in there. It does like to hold bubbles, so I do like to kind of poke around with a toothpick or massage the mold to get out any bubbles. You can hit it with like a torch, but be careful when you're torching your projects. You can actually overheat your mold, and then your mold fuses to the resin, and that is no fun. So I let this sit for another 12 hours, and then I unmolded it, and I don't think I took a video of that, so I'm super sorry. So this is kind of the last you see before it is done. Here is the finished piece. There is a little air bubble that I got in there. You can easily just patch that with, you know, another blob of resin, but yeah. It turned out super pretty. You can see there's a bit of sparkle. You can see the sides. It kind of just blended together. Here's the back. It is super see-through. Pretty flat. These were the edges I was talking about that can get bubbles. So they're not horrible, but they're also not perfect. Honestly, it's hard to get resin absolutely perfect. But I mean, I think it looks pretty good. You can't really notice it too much. But yeah, it does have these little indents because it is technically an ashtray, but honestly, I just throw whatever I want into it. The sides. I don't know, I think it's super pretty, and I'm totally in love with how it turned out. We're back. Did you miss me? Here is, I mean, I already showed you the finished product, but yeah, here it is again. I lost footage of unmolding because honestly, I made this months ago, but I have a full-time job and I do a lot of other things on the side. I'm still painting cups and trying to do all my automotive things, so I literally just got home from work today at my shop and decided to film this video. Oh, sorry, you know, I lost that footage, but as you can see, it's beautiful, and I really hope you liked this video, and I really hope that, you know, you kind of understand everything about resin. If you have any questions, I'm totally down to answer them. You can also check out my Instagram. I'm posting more regular on my Instagram if you want to look at that. But I hope this video was helpful, and I hope it clears up things or answers some questions that you have. And I want everyone to make cool resin things. So I don't want to keep any secrets from everyone, because it seems like resin is like a very protected community where no one wants to share their secrets and no one wants to tell you how to do it. But I'm gonna tell you and show you, and you're gonna watch along the way, because this is honestly just a practice for me. So everything I practice, you get to see. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe if you want more of my weird content. Maybe we'll do some like fun stuff. I don't know. If you have any recommendations on what we should do, let me know. I'm always down to film whatever my weird life has, because it's weird. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.